We do have another correspondent who is on Zoom right now, Thom Serafin. We want to bring him in right now. So, Thom, we want to get, what is your reaction to this guilty verdict here?
Well, the evidence was overwhelming, but, politically, the fallout is, helpful on both sides, but it's a tragedy for Hunter and his family. Not something that anybody would like to go through. He's certainly not going to be, sentenced for 25 years, which is the penalty for something like this. And ultimately, I believe, especially if this goes to the extent of the law and he is in prison, I think he will be pardoned by the president. That's his father, his dad. And he has that prerogative to do that before he leaves office. If he's defeated or if he's, president, he can do that.
Now, President Biden, Thom, has said that he will not pardon his son. That was before we got the guilty verdict. But what ramifications could something like that have on the presidential campaign?
Well, nothing like a pardon is going to happen before the presidential campaign. However, today people will say on the Democratic side of the aisle, you see what the Republicans are talking about with lawfare and everything else. It's not one-sided. The Justice Department justice is blind. We see it all. And Hunter Biden, the president's son, has been convicted of this crime. They're going to go out and campaign that way. The Republicans are going to say, well, if they talk about our convicted felon, then the other side has a convicted felon as part of the family. So the family must be involved in this. So it's a tawdry day for politics in this country. It's not that we've been pristine for over 200 years. I mean, a lot of these kinds of things in the old days used to happen and flourish, actually. But today, we think of ourselves as somewhat sophisticated. Hunter needs help. He needs psychological help. He needs medical help. And so from a political point of view, it's kind of a wash because both sides are going to be using this. And depending on how close this race is in the last few days before November, and it's tied now nationally, and Biden is losing the Electoral College vote to Donald Trump because of the states that we're talking about: Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Georgia. If he wins those states, Trump will win this race. If it stays close like this, you could see both of these issues as part of television commercials. Donald Trump, the convicted felon; Hunter Biden, the convicted felon with guns and dope and girlfriends and all these kinds of things. So, unfortunately, the issues to the people of this country that really matter, like inflation and border crossings, etc., might take second place, which I don't think will be well suited for either candidate.
But Second Amendment rights are right up there for a lot of people, Thom. When it comes to what matters most to them during an election year. Could this set a precedent for other people? Obviously, if you're doing drugs and you fill out the form and you say that you're not, when you're trying to obtain a gun, that is illegal. But could there be greater scrutiny if the president's son can be convicted in a case like this?
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's, anytime you see a popular precedent, not a legal precedent, but somebody very popular around the country, somebody well known. Well, it happened to the president's son. You have to take it seriously on this issue. You have to take it seriously for John Doe down the street. I know he's high all the time and he got a gun permit, and people will be talking about those kinds of things. So the answer to your question is yes. How deeply, I don't know. Gun rights, the Second Amendment are very, very important. However, there's a good reason why they ask that question, before you get a gun. Are you addicted to some kind of hallucinogenic, crack cocaine or whatever it is? Because in the hands of a person that's high, that's very dangerous, not only for himself, but everybody around him. So society has to set some rules. And in this particular issue, this would have never gotten to the trial phase if that deal had been accepted by the judge, between the Justice Department and Hunter Biden. But the judge threw it out, forced the trial. And this is what you see. And I think the Justice Department is going to be, on their toes and saying, what do we tell you? We're doing the same thing we're doing with the Democrats. We're doing the same thing with the Republicans. So it's good for the Justice Department. And it's good to see it happen for the Justice Department, because people need to have respect for the law, and we're losing some of that in our society today.
So, Thom, give us an idea. We haven't really been able to spend any time inside this courtroom. Where do you think went right for the prosecution in this case, and what do you think went wrong for the defense?
Well, the ex-wives and the girlfriends. I mean, it was the evidence was just yeah, overwhelming, and the video of a young lady tossing the gun into the garbage can. It was just the evidence was just overwhelming. I don't think it was ever a matter of whether or not he would be found guilty of the crime. Could he be found guilty of the crime in Delaware, which is a very small state and a Biden, part where all the Biden family lives forever? President Joe Biden's wife, Jill sat through the jury selection process, which was extraordinary. So the family showed up in courtroom to support Hunter Biden. So they were making a show of this thing. So they did everything they possibly could to help him, get over the finish line as an innocent individual. It just didn't work. So, I mean, the evidence was overwhelming. And the Justice Department, I thought at one time, and there was a lot of conventional wisdom, people were suggesting that they take a plea deal. So none of that stuff, all that tawdry stuff would be out on the front pages. They decided to follow through with it. So I think the Justice Department, Merrick Garland said, no. If we make a deal, everybody's going to be saying again, it's an inside deal, that the administration is getting another deal from the Justice Department. It's an inside kind of guy. So on this one, they went to trial. He's guilty. And I think this is a victory for the Justice Department. It's not a victory for Republicans or for Democrats. It's a sad day for anybody who has a son or a daughter, addicted to this kind of stuff, which is terrible, by the way, just terrible. But it is a victory for the Justice Department, Merrick Garland.
Yeah, and you made an interesting point there, because Merrick Garland just being called to testify in front of Congress, because many people have lost faith in the Justice Department, facing some tough questioning from them. Tom, we're getting some reaction to that verdict being read. Fox News reporting after the verdict was read, Hunter Biden was seen smiling in the courtroom. He didn't show any signs of emotion, hugged his attorney and other members of his defense team, kissed his wife, walked out of the courtroom. His uncle, James Biden, also there, appeared to look angry or upset. And First Lady Jill Biden also not in the courtroom for the verdict, but she was seen leaving the courthouse holding Hunter Biden's hand. Boy, that sure sends a strong message, doesn't it, that the First Lady attended nearly every single day of this trial, Tom?
Oh, yes. I mean, 100%. A lot of people would tell you inside the White House, inside D.C., that the president's wife, Joe Biden, the First Lady, is really, running the show in the White House. I mean, making a lot of tough decisions, helping her husband through a lot of tough situations as well. So she spent a lot of time there. So, and when they were in France for D-Day ceremonies, she actually flew back for some of the trial, some trial operations, and then flew back to France for the event. So she was 100%. I can understand why Jim Biden might not be happy, because it might set a precedent for the Republicans and others to go chasing him, because he's actually, been involved with a lot more activities than Hunter. Hunter is really, down the food chain, and from what I know about Hunter Biden, he follows through and carries through on his missions, but he's not the originator of a lot of activities. And on this particular case, he needs help, and hope he gets it.
And Tom, we are expecting an appeal to come for sure from the defense. So walk us through what do you think is going to happen throughout that process?
Well, I think they have up to 30 days to file for that. And, I'm not a legal attorney. I think that might extend after he's sentenced to file for an appeal as well. So, I think Hunter Biden is very confident that no matter what happens legally, at some point, he's going to rely on his dad, as I would rely on my father, my dad, that if he has the chance and the opportunity and the authority to pardon me at the last minute, he will do that. So I won't have to do time, but he's going to have to show some willingness to go through counseling and through rehab and make that effort. He's got to do that for his father and his family, because his father's got a tough election coming up. He can't be parading around smiling and running around in his car and with his, his fast lifestyle. He's got to disappear into some place where he can have an opportunity to recover and show the world, and as well as his family and the campaign trail, that he's making amends and he's trying to do the right thing. His dad needs that. If he expects his dad to pardon him, I understand what his dad said about pardoning. But when it comes to your last few days in office, if that's the case, if he loses to Trump, or if he's got another 4 years, he has that option. Hunter Biden will never do a day in a prison system, as far as I'm concerned.
All right. Thanks so much. Thom Serafin joining us here, political strategist. We really appreciate all of the context you also have provided this morning.